Yo, we are back. Today we got a cool video here. I want to try to help you guys out. I'm going to show you how you can cop on the Snkrs app every single time. But before we get into that, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because what I'm going to be telling you here is going to help you out a ton, and the least you can do, help me out a little bit too. With all that out of the way, let's get right into what you guys need to do. So the first thing you guys are going to want to do, obviously, is have the Snkrs app, and you're going to want to make your account. You're going to need an account for this. It's going to be taking you way too long to log in every single time there's a drop, because you don't really have much time. Some of them are real quick and they're done. Other times you got like 10-15 minutes, but we'll get into that. So once you have your account all set up, what you're going to want to do is prime your account. By priming the account, I mean you're going to want to go through on the Snkrs feed, and you're going to want to like certain shoes, whatever you know, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're liking them. You're going to want to share the links to some of them. Just interact with them anyway. Anytime there's like one of those story posts with the videos, you're going to want to watch them, whether it be all the way through or just a little bit. Anything's better than nothing. After you have that out of the way, that's kind of the easy part here, just making sure your account's active. And typically what Snkrs does is when you enter these raffles, they typically weed out some of the accounts that they may see as fraud or like bot accounts. So by priming your account, it'll show that you're active and it's a real person. And then as for the drops, there's two different types of drops they do. They do Leos and they do Dan drops. And what Leos are, they're let everyone order drop. What that means, it's essentially a 2-minute raffle from the time it drops at like 10 a.m. Usually they drop 10 a.m. Eastern to about 10:02. You have that entire time to enter in as many accounts as you can. After that, you can still enter them in, but it's technically over. In that 2-minute window, once you have your account ready, you're gonna wanna obviously enter as fast as you can. And if you do have another account, make sure to get that one in too. This is a little tough with the 2-minute window, because when you do log in and log out, normally it takes a little bit of time as is, but on drop day, it's a little laggy depending on the shoe because so many people are on. So it might take you a little extra time. If you do have multiple devices, either, you know, your phone, obviously, and whether it be a computer or someone else's phone or whatever, make sure you have those logged into separate accounts just to give yourself the best chance. You are able to enter up to 3 accounts per IP address. After that, it does get a little dicey. They might just completely void all of your entries and see the spam. And then from there, you won't know they did that, but after multiple times of doing it, you'll realize that something's up here. This is a little fishy, and that's it. That's the reason why. The other types of drops that Snkrs does is Dan drops, and those are 10 to 15 minute raffles depending on the shoe and whatever they decide. If you do have a Dan drop, unfortunately, your odds of winning those are extremely low, just because there is such a big window that people just enter in tens of hundreds of accounts, even if they're botting, you know. Your odds of copying aren't too hot with that. You still can, you know, obviously somebody has to win, but it's not as likely. Now, what you're gonna wanna do when it comes to entering the raffles is make sure you have either Apple Pay set up if you're in the United States, because I believe Apple Pay only is in the United States for Snkrs. If you don't have Apple Pay, whether it's because you're out of the United States or you just don't have it set up in general, PayPal is always another good option. It's the same exact thing. It doesn't give you better results, it just makes it faster. When it comes to entering in multiple accounts, obviously you're gonna wanna be as quick as possible, because you do have that 2-minute window, or if it's a Dan drop, that you do have a 10 to 15 minute window depending on what they decide. But you do wanna go as fast as you can, because you wanna give yourself the best chance of winning. If you do have Apple Pay or PayPal both set up, what you're gonna wanna make sure you have is either Touch ID enabled or face recognition. That will completely avoid making you enter your CVV code, which doesn't always happen, but it does happen occasionally, and you just want to completely avoid that chance. And then another thing with having those enabled, either Touch ID or face recognition, it's so quick. Obviously, you know, like I've been preaching, just as many accounts as possible. You're gonna want to do this. Obviously, like I said before, make sure all those accounts are primed, because if they're not primed, they might get weeded out as spam, like I said earlier. So you're just gonna want to make sure you do the priming step 2, which you can do any day. It doesn't have to be like right before drop, but you're gonna want to do that, and then obviously enter all your accounts as fast as you can, just to give yourself the best chance possible. Another thing that you should always be careful of is if you do make multiple accounts, you are able to use the same name on all the cards. This is important mainly because they're not gonna cancel your order just because it's the same address but a different name, obviously. But say there is a shipping problem where, say they ship and it requires a signature and you're not home, or someone else in your family or whatever is not home, and they, for some reason, you know, say they take it to like their hub location and you have to go there to pick it up. Well, usually in that situation, you have to, you know, provide your name, which is obviously not gonna be hard. You'll know the name, but you'll probably need a form of identification. So if you're using some random name, obviously you're not gonna have like a driver's license for that person. That just wouldn't make any sense. So if you are entering multiple accounts and you don't want to use your same name, that's fine. What you should be doing is either use your family member's name or a friend's name, just in case something like, you know, something like this does happen, just to prevent any sort of hassle. And you just, you know, get your shoes, quick, easy, done. As for entering raffles, whether it be through your phone or a computer, There is no faster way to do it. They're all the same speed, it doesn't really matter. Maybe you can, you know, navigate one a little quicker. As for the process of just entering and everything that goes involved, nothing's faster, nothing gives you a better chance of winning. It's all really comes down to preference and what you're more comfortable with. And one final thing I want to make sure you guys know is when you enter the raffles, just make sure you have your phone or computer with you or near you at all times so you can keep checking if you've won. Sometimes you'll go through and, you know, you'll actually hit, but you'll get an email like what happened to me saying, you know, there's suspicious activity with your card, something like this happened, you know, your order's declined, and you have to go back in, and it's a hassle. If this does happen to you, you want to make sure you have the best chance at re-entering and just getting back in there as fast as you can, because otherwise you might have just, you know, hit, but you won't hit because you got canceled. So you're out of luck, and that really sucks. Nobody should go through that. That's the worst thing anybody could ever experience. I believe that's all we got here. If any of this stuff helped you and you do hit, make sure you let me know in the comments. And if you guys stayed this far, I'd really appreciate if you guys liked the video and maybe even subscribe if you like what you saw. And as for that, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.